Ladies and gentlemen, cab aggregators like Uber, Ola, Blue Smart and Rapido have revolutionized the way we commute. You flip out your phone, a couple of taps, and in a few minutes, a car, a bike or an auto will come and pick you up. It's easy, it is reasonable, and it is supposed to be reasonably safe as well. Supposed to be, but it isn't always. Take a look at what happened in Bangalore. A woman takes an auto ride via Rapido. A while into the ride, she is sexually assaulted. When she resists, she's thrown out. If that was shocking, wait till you hear how Rapido responds. The girl in question seeks assistance from Rapido, but the aggregator claims they do not store the auto driver's details. Let's pause here for a moment. You place your trust in a product. You believe you will get home safely because the brand tells you your safety is the top priority. Then one day you're assaulted by a man who represents this brand. And you are told, sorry, but we don't have his details. We can't help. Of course, there was an official response from Rapido as well. It said the ride was not booked on their platform, essentially washing its hand of the entire matter. Rapido's statement said, and I quote, "The auto ride in question did not occur on the Rapido platform. Nevertheless, as a responsible corporate entity, we have taken action," unquote. Here is what happens next. The Rapido team miraculously locates the driver in their database and then accompanies him to the police station where the auto driver denies any wrongdoing. He's currently out on bail and FIR has been filed. But one only wonders how Rapido went from denying the ride was booked on their platform to sacking this driver. The motor vehicle aggregators' guidelines are very clear. They apply to entities like Ola, Uber and Rapido, and they mandate full transparency when it comes to the details of the driver and the ride. Right from the image of the driver, license and vehicle details to the route taken and an emergency SOS button. The rules have everything covered to ensure passenger safety. But the apparent discrepancy between Rapido's initial denial of the ride on their platform and then the subsequent action taken against the driver highlights a significant issue: the gap between regulation and their effective implementation, coupled with a lack of accountability. And just to tell you, by the way, this is not the first time women have encountered sexual predators on a Rapido ride. My guest this evening, Kalpana Vishwanath, is a co-founder and CEO of Safety Pin. She's joining us on the broadcast for a quick chat. Tanveer Pasha is the president of Ola and Uber Drivers and Owners Association in Karnataka, joining us on the broadcast as well. I'm, for obvious reasons, Kalpana, coming to you first. Is there something that doesn't add up in the Rapido Bangalore story? Can Rapido get away by saying, hey, we don't know who the guy was because apparently the ride was not booked on our platform, and yet a couple of hours later, after there is massive outrage, they managed to locate this guy and put him to a police station?
Hi, good evening, Shreya, and I'm glad you're taking up this story. And they were trying to get away, do a quick one and get away, and I think the pressure on them that was there from social media, from media taking it up, made them realize they could not just walk away from it, and I think I'm not blaming, you're absolutely right. Your initial thing was that this sort of business has provided people and women an opportunity to move around. But it is not unreasonable for us to expect accountability. I mean, Rapido did not have to say, it's not your fault that it necessarily happened, but if you can take responsibility and respond in a way that women feel that you have their best interests at heart and not just business as usual, that would make a world of a difference. We are not saying that sexual assault will never take place, but when it takes place, we expect all the systems to believe us, to do their work correctly, to make sure that the victim or the survivor of violence is at the center. And that is what we feel let down once again. It's again, pressure has to be put, something has to happen before Rapido says, okay, we will do something about it. And I think that's my point. I mean, it's really that things will happen every now and then. Every time, why does it have to be a fight? Why do we have to prove something? Why does that guy have to get out on bail so fast? Why does that girl have to feel, say, unsafe again? And the response again will be, oh, women should be careful. I think we're tired of the problem being ours. It's not our problem. It's a problem of this society,
Okay.
of companies, of cities.
Okay. So, Kalpana, the fact is that the incident takes place at 2:30 a.m. and Rapido tells us that they have enough security protocols in place. In fact, they have something called a late night ride check. So, in case you're taking an auto, or any two-wheeler post 10 p.m. till 6 a.m. in the morning, there is somebody from the call center who will call and ask you, did you manage to get to your destination safely? So Rapido, given what has happened in the past couple of years, has put systems in place. My question to you is whether you think Rapido has a safety problem, because as I just said, this is not the first time something like this has happened with Rapido. We had a woman who had to jump off a two-wheeler, a Rapido two-wheeler in Bengaluru itself because she was being harassed. In Chennai, something similar has happened with a man this time, with a techie.
No, I think you're right, because if you remember, maybe 7, 8 years ago, this happened with some of the other aggregators, right? And they then had to put stringent rules in place and respond to it. And it looks like Rapido is trying to take a bit of a shortcut on some of these things. So, what is this late night extra verification? If we are doing it, we feel that we are safe. Secondly, what is the panic button? Shreya, one of the problems I have is everyone said we have a panic button. But unless that panic button is reaching somewhere, the button is inside the taxi or the bus, but we don't have enough evidence that it's actually reaching somewhere where I'm going to get immediate help. So this is form over content. So we need to know that the systems work. And clearly in this case, and like you said, it's not the first case. If there's been 3 cases in 1 year, Rapido needs to take stock of their processes, because women are big customers for you. And I think, we need to say that, no, this is not acceptable. And women will then leave the platform. I think we have options today and women will leave the platform. But that's not always the answer, right? Are there regulations? Who is going to hold them accountable? Who do we run to every time pillar to post? It cannot be on women to do this all the time. There must be other ways of getting the system to work. I think that's where my sense of tiredness is coming. It's been years and years and years, and it's the same story every time, Shreya. You remember that first case about 8 years ago, which took place in Delhi, and I feel like it's all deja vu again. Why have things not changed? And Rapido has to answer for that. I do think many companies have put in systems. So I'm not going to say there aren't systems, there isn't some freedom women have got, but every single case must be treated with graveness that it requires.
Tanveer Pasha, then come in here. You represent Ola and Uber in the state of Karnataka. I want to ask you, why is it that you don't represent Rapido, and whether Rapido has some special issues / problems, because people have called for its ban. Fact is, the more aggregators there are on the roads, the better it is for customers. But we need aggregators and we need services that are safe for women, and not just women, for children, for men as well.
Exactly, Shreya. Everybody needs the protection, and
Go ahead, I can
company
hear
has
you.
to take care of security measures. Yeah. So we are not representing Rapido. Why? Because Rapido is an illegal company. Government has not given any permission to the Rapido till now. So first of all, they came with the bike taxis. Even as you said, this is not the first time in Rapido. So even few months before, bike taxi also, the same cases happened in the bike taxi. Now it is in the auto. Even for the auto aggregation, they have not taken any licenses, and it is totally an illegal company. Repeatedly, we are telling to the customers and to the Karnataka people not to use Rapido because they are not doing any background verification for the drivers, whoever they are taking into the fleet. And second thing, whatever the incident happens, I feel very sorry for that woman, a lady, and whatever the investigation has to happen and should be punished. And second thing, the FIR is not only should be filed on the driver, it also should be mentioned in the FIR the director or CEO and founders who are there of the company owners, Rapido company owners, should be in attached in this FIR like A1, A2, A3 like this. They also are the same responsible for this incident. Not only this driver, the company owners also the responsible. I request the Bangalore Police Commissioner to mention their name in the FIR copy.
Kalpana, I want to ask you a broader question about women and their relationship with cab aggregators like Ola, like Uber, like Blue Safe that I've just discovered, wonderful service, like Rapido as well, that serves a large base of customers. They make our lives easier. They also, to a great extent, make our lives safer as women. At night, if I want to travel from place A to place B, I know more or less that if I book one of these cab services, I will be safe. I will get to my destination on time. But there are protocols that customers need to follow as well. I can tell you this, and I want you to speak about it because you're someone who looks into the matter very deeply. There are multiple times, Kalpana, when we have the option of riding an Uber car or riding an Ola or riding a Blue Safe perhaps without actually getting onto the app. Sometimes the drivers will tell you that, right? Sometimes if you're traveling from Noida to Lucknow, for example, and the driver has a huge chunk of money to make, the first thing he'll request is, ma'am, why don't you cancel the ride so that I will get the entire money in my hand? And a lot of us will agree to that request because it's always a request. It's never a demand, it's always a request. And we agree to that request. Is that dangerous? Because I'm just looking at this case where Rapido is getting away by saying that this auto was not booked via our platform. I'm looking at this case and thinking to myself, it's absolutely dangerous and counterproductive if we try and be nice and say, okay, bhaiya, let me cancel the ride and you can take me from place A to place B and I will give you the cash. There are protocols then that we need to follow as customers as well.
So, Shreya, I think the point you're bringing up is a slightly complex one, right? Now, why are the drivers asking it? I think somewhere the platforms, when many of these drivers were kind of, lured or, brought onto the platform, they were getting a lot more money initially, right? And then now they're getting less. Things have changed, which may be fair, but the thing is they got used to getting a little bit more money. So I think even the platforms need to, reflect a little bit on why this is happening. So that's the first one. Second thing, we are a culture with a little bit of, adjust, figure out how to do things. And we do sometimes, you're right. The driver is a hardworking, working class person and he's asking you something. Sometimes you feel like saying, okay, let me help him out also. But I think, maybe as women, because we know at least the system, if you stay in the system, there's some accountability, answerability. It is probably better maybe to pay a little bit more, maybe to not take that particular cab who's refusing to do this and stuff like that. But, I think, Shreya, my problem with your question is we always put the burden back on women. And I think I constantly come back to the systems must work for us, and I think it's unacceptable. Now, if
But the
drivers are
system,
doing this,
Kalpana,
I
will
think,
work if we are on the system.
yeah,
Kalpana, but the system will work if we are on the system, if we are with the system. If we opt out of the system can very well, like Rapido is saying right now, can very well say, but you were not in the system. You didn't book
I
via
agree,
our
yeah.
app. So why are you asking us to be accountable?
I agree. And therefore, but I'm saying why it's a problem is that why are the drivers asking that? The companies need to look at, are the drivers not getting enough money? Is it something else? They're doing this,
Okay.
I mean, certainly as women and as all
Okay.
customers, we should probably not do it. I agree. On that, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's on a humanitarian basis, we say yes, right? And then if you're a woman, you can have a very bad experience because of that. And certainly going from Noida to Lucknow, you
True,
shouldn't say yes
true.
to that. I agree with you. But a Rapido, you're thinking
Yeah.
you're on a
Yeah.
two-wheeler, three-wheeler. It seems safe. And that's the problem there. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that there are protocols in place. We need to follow those protocols so that a company like Rapido or any other company cannot turn back at us and say, you didn't follow the rules, now you're asking us for accountability. I think that is something that I take away as a regular user of cab aggregators. Kalpana Vishwanath, thank you very much for joining us on the broadcast. Thank you very much. Tanveer Pasha, thank you very much for joining us on the broadcast as well. Ladies and gentlemen, your safety is in your hands. Be careful.